Hi everyone, moms and dads. I hope you had a good day. The week is over. Glad the weekend is coming by. My name is Judy Wagana. I'm a born again Christian. I'm a friend of God, and the devil knows that. I'm a mother to two wonderful young adult boys, and they are my friends too. I'm here to give my 2 cents about inheritance and succession based on my personal experience. I became a widow more than 25 years ago. I was hardly 25. My husband fell ill 3 years after our marriage, and I found myself a widow. Now, it's been a long, sweet and bitter journey. The reason I say sweet is because I've always had a man by my side, Jesus Christ. He has promised he will never leave me, neither forsake me. And I have experienced this. When I say Jesus, I'm a friend of God, I have first-hand experience. And so when the inevitable happened, my husband was a darling in the family, and so I thought this would continue. Shock on me. It didn't turn out the way I thought. So shortly after we buried him, I was my brother-in-law, the only brother to my late husband, held my hand and hurriedly asked me to sign some papers. And yes, of course, he told me these papers, this means you and I will manage your late husband's estate. I was about 24 or 23. I did not know what that meant. Later is when I realized that it meant I cannot transact alone without him. Everything I do, whatever I want to do with the estate, he has to be there. And now, looking back more than 25 years ago, my son is going to 30. I still do not have anything in my or my son's names. It's not been easy trying to get the same transfer to us, because when you're dealing with a lawyer, it's not as easy as dealing with anybody else. And I thought, I do not want to keep fighting. This is a battle I have been fighting on my knees, and I continue fighting on my knees. And the good news is I can see some light at the end of the tunnel. So I'd like to give some advice to, I'm just looking at some questions here on exactly what I'm supposed to be addressing. From my experience, I would advise somebody who's just been widowed not to rush to sign any papers, because you need to have the right thinking, you need to have a level mind, you need to have a sober mind. Don't rush to sign anything. And if you have to, get a lawyer who's on your side, not anybody who has some vested interest. And at that time when you're bereaved, you don't think straight. And the people you thought were your friends, you only later realize that they really were not for you. So my advice to anybody who's just been bereaved, take your time. Don't rush to anything, because you're bound to make a mistake that you will live to regret for a very long time. Would you say the laws in our country are lenient for one to claim succession? I wouldn't say yes, they are, because especially lately, I hear for one to get the letters of administration, you've got to wait for 1 or plus years. And the bureaucracy is nothing compared to what I went through. Well, luckily for me, I was dealing with a lawyer who did all this. And so I have no experience of what it means to wait for 1+ years to get your letters of administration. Remember, the letters of administration, they allow you to be able to transact or claim or access any money that has been left behind by your spouse. I think the government can do better to make the process a little more friendly and more lenient, especially considering this is somebody who's grieving, they are still mourning, and they are being frustrated by the authorities. So I only wish the government could do something to help cushion the same. I brought up 2 young, handsome boys, and thank God they've been on my side. They've not given me a hard time, and we've walked this journey together. We've cried together, we've laughed together. Of course, there's that age that comes and you need to understand your boys, they're growing and stuff like that. There are times I felt like I needed a father figure to be with them. Nobody came along, but somehow God brought them up. My prayer has always been, God, please cancel my sons, because I do not know how to be a father. There are things that I would not be able to tell them. But God, in your own way, you are able to send angels. And I have seen him do that. I have seen God raise people to nurture my boys. But in terms of my relationship with my boys, I can't complain. I couldn't ask for more. My first son is clearing his university. My second boy is in the US. He's also schooling and working. And so I thank God. It's not been a bed of roses. There have been bumps, hills, and valleys. But I cannot complain. When I look back, I see the reason it all happened. And the reason I say that is because I'm able to go out there and encourage somebody. And through the years, I've found myself leaning on to young ladies who've lost their husbands, I having walked on that path. And so I started a group called A Revamped Journey, meaning a journey that has been changed. Changed positively and negatively. Negatively because they've lost their spouse, positively because there is hope. And the reason I say there is hope is because I have seen it work for me. As long as you hold on to God, because the word of God says, I will not share my glory with anybody. If you choose to hold on to God, if you choose to look up to God, he will be there for you. He will fight your battles. He will uproot traps that you never knew they were there. But the fact that you did not see them doesn't mean they were not there. You will only realize much later in life that there were mountains that you crossed. There are levels that the Lord lifted you. There are battles that he fought for you. There are traps that he uprooted. There were valleys that you were supposed to trip and fall. But the Lord upheld you. And so I reach out to young ladies and I encourage them to hold on, not to compromise. And if they fall, they can still stand. Because falling is when you fall down and you refuse to wake up. But if you fall and stand up, then you're more than a victor. So I gather them together, I encourage them, I meet them once in a while, I cry with them, and I hold their hand as much as I can based on my experience. Let me address the last question, I guess. And out of my experiences in life, I have written a wonderful book called Pain to Heal. This is a must read for anybody going through any kind of challenge. Because right now, you may think you're in the depth of the deep. You may think that you cannot come out. You may think there is no hope. But if you read my book, you will realize you can come out of any situation. I've come from abundance, from living the life, from going around the world, to having nothing, being housed, having no food, and no job. And with time, the God whom I serve has lifted me up, has raised me to levels I never thought I could ever reach, has lifted me and taken me to places I never thought I could ever go, has held my hand and helped me meet people and do things I never ever thought I would ever do. I thought I had it before, not until I went down and the Lord picked me up. And there's a saying that says, if you want to throw an arrow, you have to push it back and launch it further. If you want to launch it farthest, you have to really pull it back and then shoot it farthest. That is what God did for me. And sometimes you may feel like you can't bear it, you can't hold it anymore. But tell you what, only God knows your elasticity. He knows how much he can stretch you and you will not break, as long as you keep holding on to him and don't compromise. If you choose to lift your eyes to God, which is the best bet, you will never be put to shame. And so I encourage everybody, no matter what you're going through, keep holding on, keep trusting God, keep looking up to him, and every now and then tell him you have nobody else other than you, God. And the best thing is, it's only God who sees deep down in your heart that you have no one else to hold on to except him, and he will never let you go, and he will never put you to shame. My closing comments would be, there is life in widowhood. There is fun in widowhood. There is fun in Jesus Christ. There is fun even after your spouse goes. If you want to get over it, speak about it. Talk about it. Tell God how you feel about it. Cry when you want to cry. Laugh when you have to laugh. Love yourself. If you're looking for somebody to marry or to marry or vice versa, love yourself first. Just know you are completing yourself. Whoever else is coming to compliment you and not to make you happy. And above all, look up to God. So the Lord bless you, the Lord do you good, the Lord lift you, the Lord encourage you and fight your battles. If you need to talk to me, Mudhoni will give you my contacts. I love you and God bless you. Bye.